I am excited to introduce our presenter for today. He is the guy in the bottom left corner in the blue shirt, Mr. Bill Storm, the VP of United Professionals. He's been involved in martial arts for years, currently holds a 5th degree black belt and training in jiu-jitsu. He's been working with martial arts schools for years, consulting, coaching, helping them grow and succeed. And, I'm really excited about the content of the webinar today. I think you're all going to take something away from it. So without further ado, Bill, go ahead and take it away.
Well, thank you so much. I want to thank everyone from Champions Way for having me on today. I'm excited about doing the presentation for everyone. Before I get started, I also want to introduce Mr. Silva, who is my personal mentor and president of United Professionals. He's in the picture next to me on the bottom in the black shirt. And a lot of the information that I'm going to share with you today is information that he's taught me personally over the years that hopefully I can turn around and share with you. So without further ado, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about 20 ways to consistently enroll 20 new students per month. That's what you're here for. So let's get going. All right, first up, the method that you use or the methods that you use aren't nearly as important as developing the habits of daily consistent action. That's really what I do as a coach. It's about making sure that I keep you consistent with your daily action, developing that black belt focus. So number one is focus on what needs to be done. And I'm going to start out with a story. The picture here is a picture of Mr. Mark Standen, and he is up in New Hampshire at Manchester Karate. And his job is solely to focus on bringing new leads into the school and packing the appointment book for the program director. The reason that this school is $1 million dojo and why they do so well is because they focus on the right activities. Many of us have gotten into the martial arts because we're good at it and we enjoy it. However, once we get into the martial arts as a business, all of a sudden we realize, wow, people aren't just beating down my door. I need to be able to go out and get people and let them know that I'm here, get them to come in and experience what I do. The challenge is most school owners just never do that. They're very good at being technical on the mat, but they can't apply those same skills off the mat because they just don't have the skill set on that end of the business. So that's what we're here to do, is kind of talk about how we develop that. So Mr. Standen, he focuses on the right activities. Number two, he follows through consistently. Number three, he's the right person for the job. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about a school evaluation I did for this particular school a couple of months ago. And when I went there, I said to myself, wow, this is $1 million a year school. What am I going to contribute to this school that's going to be able to take them to the next level? So when I went there, what it ended up being is we actually talked a lot about retention, because when you have a school that large, now you start focusing on making sure people aren't leaking through the holes in the bucket or leaking through the cracks. But what I did see that I thought was absolutely amazing, and I could see why they produce the same kind of numbers over and over again every month, is because of these three things that I saw in Mr. Standen. During the day, Mr. Standen, all he does is go out. He's like the public liaison, right, of his community. He goes out. He does things like promotional booths. He goes and speaks at Chamber of Commerce events. He goes to daycares. He goes to schools. All day long, his focus is on exactly that, bringing in new life and new blood into the schools. So now what we do is we ask ourselves, am I doing that? Or am I spending the first half of my day doing busy work and not really doing anything that has to do with bringing in new students? In order to get the same results as somebody else, we have to model their behaviors and the things that they do. So then what happened was at night I sat down to watch classes. I wanted to see how the floor was working. But what impressed me most was what was happening behind me. Well, behind me was this glass window. And I was sitting in the chairs in front of this glass window. And from 3:30 all the way until about 7:30 at night, all I could hear was Mr. Standen. He was taking the leads that he had gathered during the day, and he was making outgoing phone calls, one after the other. Boom, 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 boom. He kept making those outgoing phone calls. Now, the only way that this worked is because he was the right person for the job. He's very personable, big smile, very friendly type of a person, just absolutely suited for this job. So what ended up happening, and I want to tell you about the numbers, what happened was during the course of that month, he was able to gather approximately 600 leads. Out of those 600 leads that he got in those phone calls that he made, he was able to schedule 48 appointments out of those 600 leads. And from those 48 leads or appointments that actually showed up, he was able to enroll 27 students that month. So now it becomes a math formula. I'm going to talk to you a lot more about math. But basically what happens is he has enough prospects dumping into the top of the funnel so he gets the desired number out of the bottom of the funnel that he's looking for. Most schools simply don't do that. When I got home from that trip, I went to Starbucks one afternoon with my wife, and as we were coming out of Starbucks, a young fellow named Brandon approached us, and he approached me very simply. He said, "Hi guys, would you like a free week at LA Fitness?" Well, fitness is a little bit different than martial arts. Everybody kind of knows what fitness is, and everybody understands, okay, why would I go to fitness? To get in shape, lose weight, yes. So I wanted to hear what he had to say. So I said, sure. So he went to hand me the pass, but as he went to hand me the pass, he said, all I need is your name and number. So I said, okay, I'll play along with this. So I gave him my name and number so I would see what he had to say. So from there, I actually turned around and I asked him a question. And I said, let me ask you a question. How many of these per day do you have to get as part of your job? He says, well, we have to get 25 names and numbers per day. I said, wow, 25 names and numbers per day, that's pretty aggressive. And he says, well, yeah, he goes, I work a 9-hour day, and, probably 5 hours or so of it is dedicated to generating names and numbers. And he says, I said, well, what happens if you don't get the names and numbers? He says, well, then you lose your job, because that's what the job is, to go out and get those leads. So this is what I'm saying is focusing on what needs to be done, having the right people, and then following through is so important. So I started doing a little bit of math on Brandon's numbers, and I said, okay, 25 names and numbers per day times 5 days a week, that's 125 names and numbers per week. Well, what does that look like over the course of the month? Well, over the course of the month, that comes out to about 500 actual prospects to work from. Well, from that number, since we're going out and getting them, I don't expect as many of those people to show up. But let's just do some fun math here. Let's say if you call 500 people and only 10% actually agree to go ahead and schedule to come in with you, that's still 50 first intros that would be coming in. Now, I don't know what your closing percentage is. It's going to totally depend on you and how well you're trained. But I'm going to guess if you have 50 people actually come in and take an intro from you, you're going to be able to close at least half of them and get 25 new members a month. So number one is focus on what the most important thing is for your business, and that is getting new lifeblood into your school. Without that, you're not going to be open very long. Number two, this is called the rule of two. The rule of two is something that I made up about 5 years ago. But I didn't make it up randomly. This was done again as a study. I'm going to make a statement here. The statement is you will enroll an average of 2 new students per marketing activity that you are well trained in, that you practice, drill, rehearse, PDR, and that you execute each month. Now, how did I come up with that number? Well, about 5 years ago, I had a school owner called me up, and it was in December, and he said, Bill, he says, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's the economy or what's going on. And he says, I only signed up 5 new members this month. Now, to pre-frame this, I want you to understand this is not a rookie school owner. This was a school owner that was fairly successful. I mean, he had a $35,000 a month billing check, so it's not like he was a rookie or anything. And I says, geez, I don't know. Let's do a little investigating and see if we can figure it out. So what I did is I just asked him a very simple question. I said, sir, can you tell me what marketing activities that you used during the month of November and during the month of December? So he thought about it, obviously, for a minute over the phone, and then he kind of chuckled. He said, oh, man. He says, I know what the problem is. He says, the problem is myself. We were having such good luck with people coming in, I got lazy. And basically what happened is he said, I only had 3 marketing activities during the month of November. And I said, okay, well, that makes sense. If you got 5 new members from that and you had 3 activities, that's actually not too bad. So what I did is every time I talked to a client over the next couple of weeks, I just asked them a simple question. What marketing activities or how many marketing activities did you do in November, and how many new students did you enroll in December? And I made a graph, or basically a chart. And when you averaged it out, it was amazing that it always averaged out to about 2. Now here's the funny thing. Some of the larger schools, some of the schools that were cranking out big numbers, like 43 new members a month, what I found with them was their closing percentage wasn't any better than the closing percentage of the smaller school. They weren't really better closers. What they were better at is taking daily consistent action to make sure that they had the marketing activities in place so that they could enroll that number of new students. So if we're shooting for 20 new members a month, doing the math, we know that you need a minimum of 10 marketing activities in place, and you want them all completed by the 3rd week of the month. Why do you want them completed by the 3rd week of the month? Well, if you have an activity and it's during the last 2 days of the month, you have absolutely no chance of taking the people that you get, the prospects from that activity, and getting them in for an intro and getting them enrolled, unless you're doing like a mass introductory type lesson. So I'd like to have all of those marketing activities completed by the 3rd week of the month, which gives you an entire week to get people in, get your intros done, and through the enrollment conference. So when you're doing your planning, or if I'm helping you as a coach, I'm going to ask you, what is your goal? And how many marketing activities do you have in place right now? The next thing I'm going to ask you is, what are your marketing activities that you have in place, and are you confident with your approach? Even if you tell me, yes, I'm confident in your approach, in my approach, I'm going to ask you, let's role play. Tell me in detail what you're going to do to ensure that you get the right number of leads coming in the door, and now I want you to tell me how you intend to convert those people into new members. If you don't know the details and you can't tell me, there is no way it's going to be effective. So my job as the coach is to make those tiny little improvements every single week, every single month, until you have those down solid and you're able to get the result that you're looking for out of those activities. So 10 basics will get you 20 new members a month. This is like the rice and beans, right? In Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, they say most of the techniques that you're going to use that you're going to be successful are, those are the rice and beans. Those are the things that you do over and over and over again. As martial artists, we all know that it's the basics that win the competition. It's the basics that keeps you safe. You need to do those reps over and over again. So let's take a look at what a basic 10 marketing plan might look like. Well, number 1 is your website. If you're expecting 20 new members from your website, I've got news for you. It may happen, but more than likely, it's not. I would count on 2 new members a month from your website if you've got a good one. If it's producing 2 new members a month, it did its job. Number 2, a white belt buddy bash. Every single month, you have new students that are coming into your school. That is when they're most excited. And because they're the most excited, they're more likely to bring somebody in that they want to share with if you ask them and if you approach them the right way with a theme that's very, very exciting. Number 3, birthday parties. You could do 1 of these a week, 2 of these a week. I know Mr. Silva used to do them he used to have his school open 7 days a week, and he'd have birthday parties, 4 on Saturday and 4 on Sunday. This is when he had a school that was 1,300 students strong. Now, I know what you're going to say here. I've done birthday parties, they don't work. That is not true. Maybe the way that you're doing the birthday party doesn't work, but if I work with you and I coach you a little bit and I make you see how we do things to attract people and to make sure that we have an audience, you'll see that, oh, wow, they actually do work. Matter of fact, I was talking with Master Paul Garcia, and he has multiple birthday parties every month. Now, he's successful with his birthday parties already, but as always, he's a championship thinker. He's always looking to improve. So I shared with him how I would go about doing the birthday party. He took the information, he implemented it, and guess what? He got better results. He was super excited about that. Again, Master Garcia is $1 million producer. So if we can improve a $1 million producer, we can certainly improve anyone on down the line from there. So obviously, we can discuss that if you're interested in finding out more about the specific how-tos. VIPing daily, right? That's belly-to-belly marketing. This happens day in and day out. If I'm at Starbucks and I strike up a conversation with somebody, if I'm at the dry cleaner, if I'm out to lunch and I strike up a conversation with somebody, I'm going to give you a very easy way right now to do a VIP. All the kids have just gone back to school. Right now, we know that there's a big problem with bullying in schools right now. Very, very big problem with that. So if we're involved in our community, we want to be able to do something to help. So if I see a family, it is very easy for me to walk up to them and say, hey, hi family, my name is Bill Storm from East West Karate. Listen, the reason I'm approaching you today is because we know all the kids are back to school. Bullying is a big problem in our community right now, so we are offering 2 complimentary lessons to teach kids how to deal with bullies so they don't feel like a victim if they encounter that in school. Would you be interested in having your kids take those lessons? It's as simple as that. If they say no, that's cool, that's fine. You hand them your card and you say, you know what? If you know someone who might be interested, maybe somebody whose child is being bullied, would you mind passing this card on and having them call us so we can go ahead and extend those lessons to them as well? It's a numbers game. How many people do you need to approach? I don't know. It depends on how smooth you are with your presentation, how confident you are, how good you are at building rapport. It may be, I may need to approach 10 people to get 5 people to say yes. It may take you 50 people. You just need to know your numbers. So far, we've gone through 4 things. Website, White Belt Buddy Bash, Birthday Party, VIP. If we're expecting 2 new members each, now we're up to 8 new members for the month. Promotional booths. These are huge. There's a picture of one right here for Elite Force Martial Arts down here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I know Mr. Doug Bertrand up in Vancouver. Washington uses promotional booths very, very heavy before back to school time goes. They generate hundreds and even thousands of leads from promotional booths. Selling is a people business. Every business is a people business. You can't sit behind your computer and expect to build rapport with people. You have to communicate. They want to see your face. They want to see that you care. No one cares about what style you teach. No one cares about what degree you are as a master or grandmaster. What they want to know is, are you interested in me? That's why I say this is a people business. A promotional booth gives you the opportunity to meet face-to-face with people, shake hands, smile, build relationships. Number 6, Parents' Night Out. Again, there are all different kinds of twists and turns on Parents' Night Out. I actually do Parents' Night Outs at elementary schools themselves. So instead of just working with just my students, I can also do Parents' Night Outs with whole organizations to help fundraise for their PTOs. It gives me a chance to actually meet the parents instead of just having people or drop people off, and it exposes me to a large number of people. I'd be glad to share with you how I do that if you'd like to discuss that in a coaching session. Number 7 is huge. Answer your phone and be at your school for walk-in traffic. I can't tell you how many times I will call a school and I get their answering machine or nothing whatsoever. The other thing that will happen is you'll go to a school, there's no one there. I know down here in Boca Raton, Florida, our whole plaza is just packed with children's type of activities. There's an orthodontist, there's a pediatrician, there's a dentist, there's a learning center there, there's a haircut place for kids. There's always people walking in our plaza. If you are not there, if you're at home and you're asleep, or you're playing on your Xbox, or you're fiddling around on Facebook, you are missing a large number of potential enrollments during the day simply by not being there. Number 8, family member add-ons. Very, very simple. If you get the concept that families that kick together stick together, you're missing out on an opportunity if little Billy comes in to enroll and you neglect to ask, hey mom, hey dad, what do you do for fitness? Or what do you do as a family activity? You know, we have many moms, many dads that are training in our program. Has martial arts ever interested you at all? Just simply by asking. Another opportunity there is, hey mom and dad, Billy's going to come out on the floor right now for his introductory lesson. And what we found is that when mom and dad participate with him in the lesson, when he gets home, you can be a VIP parent, which means very involved parent, and help him remember the lesson that he learned today. So when he comes back for a second lesson, he's going to feel more confident and more successful. Can you come out on the floor and participate in the lesson? That's huge. To be able to get somebody off of the chair and up and moving is a big deal, and you will potentially have some add-ons from that. Now, will you get 10 new members a month from that? I don't know. Again, it depends on how good you are at this, but overall, can you expect a couple of new members if you have 20 intros scheduled for the month? Probably so. Number 9, ask for referrals. Mr. and Mrs. Smith call in and they want to schedule an introductory lesson for Billy. So I say, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you know, many of our students feel a lot more comfortable and they have a lot more fun with the very first lesson if they get to train with somebody that they already know. Does Billy have a neighbor or a really close buddy from school, church, whatever, that he would like to bring in with him to participate? I know this doesn't happen because I've heard info calls take place even at good schools where this doesn't happen. So if this is top of the mind awareness, and if you have this on your info call sheet to remind yourself to ask for the referral, will you get everyone to do that? No. But will you get some to? Yes, of course. Number 10, rack cards. Some schools are doing this extremely successfully, but you have to have quite a few of them out. I love rack cards. They're basically brochure-sized cards. The reason I like them is because they're like little mini billboards all over town. How do I know if these work? Well, I'll give you an example. It worked on me. When I first moved down to Boca Raton, Florida, I was looking for a CrossFit facility to go to. And I went into a Thai restaurant that happened to be in our plaza. It's called Boone. And I walked in, and sure enough, there was a rack card. And the rack card was for a CrossFit facility. And it just so happened that it was in the next complex over. I had no idea because they had no signage out there. It's kind of like a warehouse CrossFit, or a lot of those are in warehouses. They had no signage. I drove by there a million times, and I never knew it was even there. But the rack card told me it was. So I went to the website, checked it out, looked, went over there, took a class, boom, joined on the spot. So do they work? Yes. Will I get 10 new members a month from it? I don't know, but you'll at least get 2. Now I'm going to go back to what I said before just for the sake of time. The methods that you use aren't nearly as important as developing the habit of daily consistent action, which means making sure that you have a plan at the beginning of the month. You know exactly what you're going to do. You're going to execute on these things, and you can pick from this list. The next one I'm not going to go, the next few I'm going to go through, I'm not going to go into detail. That's a conversation that you and I can have personally to see which ones best suit your needs, but I kind of want to run through them just so you can start thinking. Okay, more ideas. Demos. Mr. Silva used to have a demo every month. He had a mom that was a raving fan student in charge of demos, getting out there in the community, letting people see what you do, the wow factor. Number 2, you can be a special guest instructor at a daycare facility for Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, law enforcement agencies, etc. Just simply call them and extend your services to them and let them know that you'd be happy to provide a bully-proof seminar, a tactical type seminar, a abduction seminar, those types of things. Make enough phone calls, you'll get the opportunity. UFC nights, Monday night football nights. Guys, listen, it's not just for MMA, so don't look at the word UFC and say, oh, I don't teach MMA. Listen, I'm 43 years old at this point. I'm not going to get in the cage anymore. I still like to compete, for sure. But that's not something that I'm looking for. It's also not something that I'm necessarily looking for my kids. I want them to train the same way that I came up through training because that's my memories. That's my nostalgia. But if you're a martial arts school, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to be at a local sports bar watching the fights. I like the fights. I like to watch the fights. Does it mean that I want to go that I want my kids to train in it? No. But if you approach me and you're the right kind of school and you approach me, now I'm going to bring my kids, or I might bring myself if I identify with you. So that's an opportunity. Teen nights, completely different audience, guys. My daughter is 15 years old right now. She is not going to parents' night out anymore. She's too old for that. She does not identify with that anymore. So if I'm trying to build my teen program, right, if I do XMA or I do Hyper, or, things like that that a teen might like, I need to have a night specifically designed for teens, and I can let my teens actually tell me what's cool and what they like to do now, and they can promote it to their own friends in middle school, in high school. Number 5, classes at the park or at the beach. These are always fun. I mean, these are just flat out fun. You go out there and you're training, and somebody's going to come by and they're going to ask. I know that I've seen several martial arts schools doing this down here on the beach in Florida. I've seen personal trainers and CrossFit type people out there. I stop and watch too. I want to see what exercises they're doing. And if it looks cool, sure, I'm going to go up and approach somebody and say, hey, where do you guys train? Number 6, farming Facebook. This is the number one time waster that I see every day, all day. People spending so much time on Facebook, it's like crack. I mean, people are addicted to being on Facebook, posting nonsense that has nothing to do with anything. And the worst part is they're doing it during go time, which means that those peak hours. You don't have time to do that if you're running a business, guys. So if you are going to use Facebook as a marketing tool, farm Facebook correctly. I'll just give you a quick example. If I have an adult student, just let's say I've got a lady taking one of our adult classes right now, a self-defense course. Her name's Melanie. If I'm talking to Melanie on Facebook, I'll say, hey Melanie, I know you're really enjoying the class, and one of my goals is to make sure that we reach out to as many women as possible in our community to make sure that they're safe. Here's what I was thinking. What I would like to do is I would like to hold a private self-defense seminar for you and 10 of your closest friends. What do you think about that? She said, oh yeah, I think that's a good idea. I said, okay, here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to make me a list of 10 people that you'd like. Let's go ahead and pick a date now on the calendar when you'd like to have this, right? So I give a date, a deadline date, right, that she has to meet. And what I need from you is I just need a list of who those people are and their numbers so I can send them an invitation and then call to confirm that they're going to be there, so I make sure I have enough staff on hand. So people that you're looking for, maybe it's people that you work with, maybe friends of yours, family members, whoever it might be. Can you have that list to me by next week? So I'm using that to communicate with people because I know people communicate on Facebook. So I'm spidering out, I'm using current friends to spider out to reach out to their friends. That's what community networking is all about. Number 7, EDDM, every door direct mail. Every door direct mail, there is an expense to this. However, some people are getting good results from it, some people aren't. But with EDDM, it's not something that you do once and expect a landslide. It is top of the mind awareness again, letting people know what you do and making sure that your name is constantly out there. So anytime they think of martial arts, self-defense, fitness, karate, anything like that, they're going to say your school's name. That's what they're going to be thinking about. Those cards are nice. People will keep those. So, I've gotten marketing pieces in at the strangest times. Like I've gotten a Halloween kick-or-treat pass in the middle of July, right? That came around a year, even 2 or 3 years later, somebody held on to this stuff. Speaking engagements, these are big. Breakfast clubs, lunch clubs for businesses, they're all over the place. You have so many things that you can talk about with these groups. You can talk about bullies. You can talk about rape defense, abduction. You can talk about fitness. You can talk about life skills, the I can attitude. There's never-ending amount of speaking engagements. I referred to this fellow named Mark Standen, who's the lead generator in New Hampshire there for that school out there. He's always got a speaking engagement. He's always in front of people talking. Everybody knows who this school is. Everybody knows what they do. Next one, volunteer for charity events. Geez, this is just such an easy thing to do. And when you volunteer for a charity event, a church event, or anything like that, be there for the right reasons, guys. Make sure that you're going there to actually help them. So if you go and you do like a 5K run and you volunteer for the American Heart Association, go there in force with your team. Use that as a leadership example. Have them wear your team t-shirts. Have them there picking up trash. Have them there handing out water, Gatorade, or whatever. Be a presence there. And when you're there and people know that you're there to help them for the right reasons, they'll continue to invite you back year after year. And as you build rapport with these people and trust with these people, now when you say, hey, you know what? How about if we have a demo there next time? That would be really cool. Maybe at the finish line or at the starting line to pump everybody up. That would be a visual stimulus that would be amazing. What do you think about that? The organizer says, yeah, that'd be really cool. I say, great. So now you set up a demo, you set up a little promotional booth, and bang, there you go. You've got this wonderful event because you were there and you earned the right to be there. If that's not enough, hire a full-time lead generator. Again, you need somebody focused on packing your appointment book. Somebody's going to tell me, hey, I don't have the money to hire anybody. Guess what? I've got a solution for that. Call me. I'll talk to you all about that and how to overcome that obstacle. Number 2, become the expert in your community. Write a weekly column online or in a local publication. You can pull that information right from United Professionals from our Black Belt Excellence sheets every month. Super easy. Makes you the expert in your community. Mr. Silva Special, I'm confused. Promoting your adult programs. Hey guys, I know you're all really enjoying the program. Some of you have lost weight. Some of you have gained more confidence in the program, but I'm confused. The reason I'm confused is because you're benefiting from the program so much, you're reaping all the benefits, yet you haven't brought anybody else in to do the same. So what I want you to do is I want you to think of somebody who could stand to lose a little bit of weight, somebody who could use a little bit more confidence, maybe somebody who's got a child that has ADHD that needs some more focus. And next week we're going to have a kids and adult buddy week where you can invite those people in for them to experience the same benefits. That's called building your community one black belt at a time. Social events for parents. I do these all the time. While the kids are doing Parents' Night Out, what are you doing with the parents? Do something fun with them. Have the kids at Parents' Night Out. Have the parents come get together and have dinner. Have them bring their friends. Parents are always looking for social activities to do. It's really important. And the more social events that you do, the more parent support you're going to get also. I know I did a wine tour event up in New York when I used to live there. That was hugely popular. It was so much fun. I met a lot of great people, and we got new students from that because it got them the opportunity to meet me and me to meet them, and we really built some great rapport. Lead with fitness. If you have a martial art that you teach that's got a name that might not be familiar to people's ears, don't approach people with that. Approach people with things that they know. In the stock, this is a funny thing. Years ago, they did a study with the stock market, and they wanted to see what the results would be if they had professionals picking stocks versus some kindergarten kids picking stocks. And what happened was the professionals, they went to all the companies with the fancy names and these fancy products that they had, some of which you couldn't even understand what the heck that they did. The kids, on the other hand, picked things that they were familiar with, like McDonald's or Coca-Cola or things like that were very easily identifiable. Well, guess what happened? At the end of the study, what happened is that the kindergarten kids did better than the professionals did, because the product that you have to have has got to be identifiable to other people in order to be able to sell it. So adults, they understand fitness. They don't understand how martial arts can be a great way to get fit. So you have to introduce them to it. Again, we can talk a little bit more about that personally. Educational I-CAN seminars for parents. You don't need to always lead with just martial arts. Go in the back door. Have a seminar for issues that parents are concerned about. Seminar for kids who have ADHD, how to deal with that. Kids who have obesity, how to deal with that. A seminar on people that have teenagers and that have teen issues, how to deal with that. Bring those people in, let them hear you speak, wow them with that experience, then approach them about doing an introductory lesson. Co-oping with other businesses, again, this is a great way to build resources and opportunities within your community. I know that I built a rapport with a business owner that owned a Subway sub shop. And it was interesting because what he told me is, he said, listen, he says, I don't know how to do any marketing. He said, I bought into the franchise and they do their national marketing, but basically I just put together sandwiches and kind of sit here and wait for people to come in. So I actually introduced him to the PTO group where my kids were going to school, and I got him involved in that group. And by doing so, I started talking to him about how he could give discounts to different people to come to his particular store within the community. Guess what happened? His business started to thrive. He was getting an increase in income, and that was a nice little side benefit. I coached a business that was outside of the martial arts, and it did well. We developed a great relationship. From there, what happened is when I just said, hey, you know what, Jason, I'd like to do a little promotional booth during your busy time. Would it be okay if I came out there with our mascot and handed out invitations to our upcoming Bully Proof seminars? He says, oh yeah, Bill, no problem. He goes, do you want me to give you anything else? You need anything? Totally different understanding, relationships within a business community. Join a club. Running clubs, dog clubs, car clubs, all of those kind of clubs are filled with people that have things in common. Running clubs are really super easy. Obviously, those people are already into fitness. They want their kids to be into things that have to do with fitness. You can do seminars promoting self-defense for runners. But if you're a member of that club, obviously that exposes you to more people. Gym memberships, super duper easy for adults. If you're looking for daytime members for a program that you have, there are people that go to the gym that are starting to get bored of going to the gym. Most of the time you go into the gym, they don't pay attention to you, they don't know your name, they don't speak with you. So you go into the gym and you're wearing your martial arts t-shirt, you strike up a conversation, you say, hey, geez, we have a class in the mornings too, you should come and check it out. A couple of new members from that, no problem. That'll happen every day, all day. Last thing, self-defense workshops. When I was in New York, I had these quarterly at a occupational training center. It was called BOCES there, and I did a women's self-defense course there every single quarter, and that always produced new members from that. Okay, so what's the goal? Well, the goal is black belt excellence on and off the mat. You haven't mastered something if you've got great focus and discipline on the mat, but you can't use it off the mat. So what I'm asking you to do is see the tie-in between the two, and now start approaching your business with the same tenacity as you do on the mat. The goal is 2 appointments per day for new students. If you have 2 appointments per day for new students, and you say 5 days a week, that's basically 40 appointments per month. Out of 40 appointments that you have per month, 20 new members should be an absolute no-brainer. Statistically, it's just going to happen. Do the same thing with renewals and or upgrades. Have a goal to set 2 renewal appointments per day. Go through your student base. Look at who you've got available to you there and set appointments with them, if not for anything else other than to provide good customer service by giving them feedback on how their training is going so far. What does that have to do with enrolling new members? If they are happy customers, now that's the time when you say, Who do you know that could also stand to lose a little bit of weight? Who do you know that has a child with ADHD that you might want to bring in at our next buddy week or buddy day or whatever it is? It's an opportunity to ask for more. And then the goal again is daily consistent action. Master Garcia did a great staff meeting the other day, and he talked about putting it in your appointment book as a schedule, or putting it in your schedule as an appointment. Okay? Just like if you had a doctor's appointment, you can't miss it. Well, same thing with your marketing. You simply cannot miss it. It is one of the most important things that you can do on a daily basis. How do we make it happen on a daily basis? Well, you just simply need to know your numbers. But if you look at the picture, your comfort zone is that little teeny circle. If you're not used to doing this, you've got to find a way to get outside of your comfort zone, because that's where the magic happens. Again, that's what a coach is for. My job is to draw out your potential so you get out of that comfort zone and you never go back there again. Mr. Silva taught me a great lesson. You can have anything that you want, create anything you want, if you will just think about the solutions that you need to create in order to make it happen. He and I do this on a daily basis. When we want to do something, we sit down and we think about all the reasons why we can't do it, throw those away, and then our job is to sit down and we hammer out as many possible solutions we can until we figure out the ones that we know can make it happen. And it's amazing when you think that way how many victories that you end up getting. So know your numbers. How many outgoing calls per day do you need to make? How many appointments do you need to set per day? Business to business, how many new connections do I need to make per week? Number of reactivation calls. How many ex-students do I have out there that I haven't touched base with that I need to call and say, hey, I miss you. Man, I wish I'd love to have you come back. And then last, number of VIPs, belly-to-belly marketing do I need to do per day? You need to track this, right? This is your business. This is your lifeblood. Nobody's going to do this for you. Just like a football game, it's not a game unless there's a scoreboard. You need to know what the score is, and you need to know the plays that you need to run in order to make it happen. All right. That's my presentation for today. Now, here's where the rubber meets the road. Here's my contact information on here. I promised everyone that attended this webinar today that I would do a complimentary business evaluation with you. I'm just going to ask you a series of questions. I want to see if I can find any way that you can improve your business. What I'll do with that information that you give me is I will make you a personal video specific to you, and I will chalk it out on my chalkboard that sits behind me when I video, and I will show you exactly what I think you should do in order to improve your business. From there, I will give you 2 private coaching sessions, right? This is absolutely free of charge. My job is to make sure that I am coaching you and I am your performance partner, that I am the person that is going to help you achieve your goals. Your victories are my victories. I have no other goal except to help you increase your growth and really enjoy doing what you do. So from here, if you have questions, I will go ahead and field those questions for you. Other than that, I'll leave the screen up. You can write down my email address and you can contact me, and I'd love to talk to you more. First question, ma'am.
Greg asked, what do you recommend to smaller schools with limited budgets?
Okay. Smaller schools with limited budgets, the first thing we need to know is a smaller school doesn't need as many new students as a larger school does. The reason I say that is because the average school in the United States loses about 7% of their student body every month. So let me just say that a school that has 50 students, if they lose 7% per month, that would be 3.5. That's just a given. It's part of the game. We should know that ahead of time. There's ways to deal with that, and I'll be glad to discuss that with him as well. So our new member goal needs to be high enough to replace the numbers that we lose, and then a little bit above that in order to grow. So in this case, even if you set a modest goal of 5 new members a month, if you lost 3.5 and you enrolled 5, well, you increase by 1.5 students or active count for the month. Now, I would probably be a little bit more aggressive than keeping it at 10% at that level. But when you're at that level, let's say you're just trying to get 5 to 10 new students, you don't need to do a lot of things that cost money. That's a big mistake. I don't need to spend money on advertising, which is putting out ads and spending money and getting people to call me. What I'm going to do are the things that I can do without spending money. All of us have a website. Generally, all of us have a website, so I can expect a couple of new members from that. Number two, something like a white belt buddy bash. That doesn't cost me any money to run. A birthday party doesn't cost me anything to run. A parents' night out doesn't generally cost me anything to run. So I can go through a number of things, and I'd be glad to talk with this particular gentleman about maybe, a handful, right? 5 core marketing activities that cost absolutely nothing. And then what we would do from there is we would practice, drill, rehearse, PDR on the method that I use to make sure that it produces the fruit that he's looking for, which is 2 new members per marketing activity that we expect.
Awesome. Freddie asked, well, he more made an observation. He said he attends many of these webinars and finds them helpful, but it's hard for him to use all these ideas because he teaches Muay Thai, submission grappling, and freestyle wrestling, so no belt system in those arts and not much for demos. He finds most of the ideas are more for traditional martial arts. Is this true?
Great. That's a great question, and the answer is no. If you have an experiencst coach, I can roll with you. And the reason I say that is because I currently train in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I also enjoy no-gi grappling, Muay Thai, all of those things. And we need to make a few twists and turns here and there, but overall, not so much. So let me give you just an example. I'm going to use Mr. Silva's I'm confused idea. I can be in there with the meanest, toughest, roughest guys going. The meaner, tougher, and fight, the more they fight, a lot of them have, some of them have egos, but all of them also still have big hearts. All of the fighters that I know are very nice guys, really good people, and they crave to have a good coach. They crave compliments. So if I've got a guy hitting pads, pat, 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 and I'm holding pads for them, and he's wearing my shoulder out, I can go, man, Mark, you're killing my shoulder. I said, that left hook of yours is just brutal, right? What do you think he's going to be doing? He's smiling inside from ear to ear that he's got that much power. I said, man, I would love to have more dedicated, enthusiastic students like you. Next week, I'm actually going to do something where we're going to have like an open mat, and we're going to invite people in that you know that you think might also enjoy the classes. Mark, who can you think of that's a buddy of yours maybe at work that could stand to lose a little bit of weight, or somebody who might really enjoy this? Maybe they were a former athlete, a former football player, a wrestler, somebody like that that would really enjoy this class. I'd like you to go ahead and invite them in on this specific day. Can you do that? He says, sure. So now I can make a follow-up phone call, right? I can call him and say, hey, Mark, our adult day here is coming up where you get to invite a buddy of yours in. Who did you decide to bring in with you? So I make that follow-up phone call to ask him who it is. And if he hasn't done it, he say, oh, man, I totally forgot. I said, okay, great. Can you go ahead and contact the person that you're thinking about and get back to me by tomorrow with it so I can make sure I have enough staff on hand? So all of these things are all doable. We just have to adjust them a little bit. And I'm speaking your language. I do that same kind of training, so I understand exactly what you're saying. You don't need to have belts or rank or any of that stuff to get people involved in your school. It's all about how you make people feel.
Awesome. I have a question by Chris and another one from Willie. I'm not sure if you have more time to answer. If we can, I will ask them right now.
Sure, let's roll. It's all about them, so
Sure.
let's do it.
Perfect. So Chris says, you just opened a brand new school. Can you give a couple direct examples of what he can do right now with only a few students and a low budget?
Yes, that's actually a great question because a friend of mine, Craig Haley, has a school down here in Lighthouse Point, Florida, and he's been open 10 years now. And we were talking about what he did when he first opened because he enrolled 71 people in the first month that he opened. And I said, holy cow. I said, how did you do that? He said, man, he says, we set up outside the school, and I just talked to everybody that I could possibly talk to. I mean, that's all we did because we didn't have any students yet, so I didn't have anything else to do but talk to people. So it was as simple as, here's a flyer, hey, you know, my name's Craig Haley. We just opened up this school. We'd love to have you come in and check it out. And it was all face-to-face, building rapport with people. It's pretty much that straightforward when you first get started. Can you spend money on ads and things like that? Sure. If you have the budget to do that, that's great. But if you don't, now you work on grassroots marketing. Once you get a few students here and there, use them to help you grow your school. Guys, we want to have a great school. We want more training partners. Yes, they say, yes, sir. I say, great. Here's what I want to do. Next week, I want to have a buddy week. And what I want you to do is I want you each to be personally responsible to bring in 3 people that you know to introduce them to the school. We're going to have a big, like grand opening special, or we're going to have an open house. And we're going to have different classes set up. We'll have a class for the little squirts, right, the little dragons. We'll have a class for kids. We'll have a class for teens, and we'll have a class for adults. And you're going to bring those people in so they can participate in those classes to kind of check it out. We'll have food. We'll have entertainment. We're going to have some demos going on. It's going to be a really big party. Can we all commit to doing that? Yes, sir. Great. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call you at the end of this week, and if you can tell me who those people are and their names and phone numbers so I can call them and or send them a very special invitation to come out. That's very low budget stuff, but what you're doing is you're using your enthusiasm. Zig Ziglar says selling is nothing more than a transference of feeling. If I'm motivated and if I'm excited and I can get people excited about what I do, they're going to want to drink some of the Kool-Aid that I'm drinking.
Awesome. Great analogy. So Willie asks, typically what do you charge for a trial lesson? I find it hard to offer a trial lesson for $29.95, then try to sign the student up at $159 a month.
Okay, that's a good question. If you break up your tuition, okay, so let's just get a calculator out here, and you said his name was Willie? Yeah,
Willie.
Okay, so $159 a month, and let's assume, let's just see what that comes out to be. $159. Okay, if they could take 3 classes a month, that would be $13.25 a class. If it was 2 lessons a month, that would be $19.87 a class. So depending on which one you use, $19.87 times 2 lesson intro would be $39.75 or $39.95. That's about equivalent to an introductory program that you could offer. If you want to go with a lower number, right, $159 divided by 12 classes a month, $13.25 times 2, that would be $26.50. So it actually makes a lot of sense, Willie, when you have a 2-lesson trial program, so each lesson is worth X amount of dollars, and then when you equate that to, hey, on an average, most of our students train 2 to 3 times per month. Well, if you take 2 times a month, that's 8 classes a month, or if you do 3 classes a month, that's 12 classes a month, it falls exactly within that range. Again, a lot of this is confidence level on the phone. When you're scavenging is what I call it, waiting for people just to call you, and you're so desperate for business that you're just trying to accept anybody that comes in, well, now you have an issue. But if you're doing the right level of marketing and you've got the right number of prospects to work from, now you can choose the students that you want to have at your school. Info call procedure is extremely important. So when somebody calls in, I need to build so much rapport with somebody before I ever talk about that introductory lesson price that it's a no big deal to them. So an example might be, hey, Mrs. Smith, you know, I'm glad you called in today. And who are the lessons for you or for somebody else? Oh, they're for my son, Billy. Great. How old's Billy? Oh, he's 12 years old. Great. Is this something that Billy's looking to do just for fun, or is there something in particular you were looking for? She says, well, you know, he's a little bit smaller than the other kids. He's getting picked on a little bit. I said, oh, geez, you know, I said, that's an issue that many of our parents are having right now. And I said, I really feel for you. So what you're saying to me is you really want to see him be more confident so he's not scared when he goes to school and you don't have to worry about him. Does that sound about right? She says, yeah, you know, that's exactly what I want. I said, geez. So here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to have you come in, and I just want you to come in and do a couple of lessons with us, okay? The 2-lesson trial, we're going to focus on specifically that because I want Billy to realize that he can defend himself. Just because he's smaller doesn't mean that he can't defend himself. We need to change his thinking, his body of truth. Right now he equates smaller with weaker, and that's just not the case, and I'm going to show him how. The way we start out is we start him out with a 2-lesson trial program. It's only $29.95, Mrs. Smith, and I'm even going to give him a free uniform so he can really feel like a Karate Kid when he comes in. It's going to be a total blast. I've got an opening on Monday at 6, so I can do Tuesday at 5:30. Which would you prefer? Now, obviously, I did that from my memory. I'm not looking at a script right now, but it's the way that you say it, but more importantly, it's the rapport that I built ahead of time to get her to feel emotional enough to say, this is exactly, he knows exactly what I want. He's reading my mind. He knows exactly what I want. I definitely want to do this because I want to make sure that, Billy's safe. We can discuss that more also if that's not quite enough, but I'll be glad to speak with you, sir.
Wow, that was very thorough. Thank you. Freddie asks, I've been stuck at about 85 members on contract for about a year and just can't seem to reach 100. If I need to pay someone to help me, what should they be working on for me? Advertising and marketing, general office stuff, etc.
Okay, again, it depends. I need to know the job descriptions of who does what in your school. I'll be glad to talk to you about that. If you're stuck at 85, that means you're enrolling as many people as you're losing. So the first thing you and I would concentrate on during your evaluation is I'm going to talk to you about how to make sure that you cut your losses in half immediately, and I'm going to give you a specific way to do that. And then once we have that, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that you have the right number of marketing pillars set up, and then we can discuss who's going to do what.
Thank you so much for all the information, more than enough. We haven't actually said anything about our awesome event coming up in November. So did you want to mention something about that?
I do. The convention, the Champions Unite event, is in San Antonio, Texas at the Marriott Riverwalk, November 8th and 9th. If you have not registered for this event, you're going to miss out on a lot. It is going to be amazing. This is an industry first where Champions Way and United Professionals are coming together, and the reason we're doing that is because we want to make sure that it's all about you. We want to give you the best of the industry to make sure that you have training, physical training that you're looking for, that you're excited about, and that you get the business training that you're excited about. We're going to have a VIP room set up. I'm not going to do as much group speaking this year as I normally do, and the reason is because I want to spend some personal time with each and every one of you that attend, and we're going to have that room where we can literally sit down face to face and go over anything that you want to go over, and we can hammer out some solutions. We want you guys to come back to your schools fired up, ready for 2014 with a plan in place. So I hope everybody will make it. We've got a fantastic speaker from the Dave Ramsey organization, Chris Hogan, that will be there as our keynote speaker. We also have Master Ken that's going to be there. Everybody's probably seen him from, I forget what that's called.
Enter the Dojo, my favorite.
That's going to be hysterical. He's going to do a roast and make fun of people at our awards dinner, so that should be hysterical. Great photo opportunities for everyone to get a picture with him and bring that back. There's going to be hyper training there, hyper pros. There's going to be Melody Schumann's going to be there, which is great. She's going to be working from her skills program, which I'm excited about. And geez, I mean, there's just so many more instructor training.
Perfect Mind 3 training on site. We got our coaches.
That's awesome.
Our whole team is there to help you guys and kind of show you what our system's about. And it's just going to be a great learning experience and tons of networking opportunities. So if you guys are interested, visit martialartsconvention.com. I'll post the website up here so you know where it is, and check it out. Get your tickets soon, and hopefully see you there.
That's great. Thank you so much for having me, and I'll see you in November.
Thanks, Bill. Take care. Thanks, everyone.